Alright, welcome guys. This is our first official sit-down talk on Bush Boppers. You've probably seen a lot of our content getting around. Went and seen Childers on Thursday night. So we'll just get straight into it, sort of introduce ourselves a bit. You would have seen us on our videos by now, but I'm Brittany and this is Conan, my younger brother. Been around footy for a lot of years. I suppose you can choose to listen or not listen to our expertise on what we talk about, but we're just trying to get a bit more content and exposure for Bush Rugby League in other things that don't really have the platforms that cover it as it is. So yesterday, for example, we went on tour. We went out to Jindawi Fish Hooks. They hosted some trial games yesterday. I had my first run for the Highfields Eagles. Headed over there with Taylor Hancock, who I had the pleasure of coaching last year. So jumped in there with the women's team. Good trial, good hit out. Stayed around and watched a couple of the men's games. They had a A-grade game was Highfields played Miles, who play in the Western Downs comp. Highfields in the TRL. And then obviously the Reggie boys were the main game. They played Jindawi versus Highfields. So it was good. Got some good content. Interviewed some good forwards, big boys. If you haven't got the memo yet of the podcast, we're by the forwards, for the forwards. All about the ruckies in the middle and everything that surrounds that. So yeah, it was pretty good. You have comments from yesterday?
Well, we'll just say interviewing is not exactly my strong suit. I got some misguided information on people who had won premierships and people who had lost them.
Yeah, we'd like to apologise to Bluey from Miles yesterday for
Put
reopening the old wounds of losing the grand final by 4 points. Our info was that you won it, so I apologise for that and do some more fact checking.
But I don't think it'll be the last time we go on tour. We always seem to know somebody in every club we go to.
Yep.
And it was good to get a few personal interviews with people we haven't really gotten speaking to in a fair while. So we'll be doing more of that in the coming weeks. But to kick things off, we're going to start with some CBRL, Central Burnett Rugby League review. And we'll kick it off with the team that lost the grand final in CBRL, Monto.
That's right, talking about open wounds. As you can see, I'm wearing the Monto Rouge shirt now. I've seen their Facebook's been pretty active. They've been ripping in. Looks like they've started training. Can't confirm on the coaching staff or stuff like that, just because we haven't looked at the Facebook further, but I'd assume Shane Kernis would be up around running it or having some sort of degree of involvement there. Good bunch of boys.
The consensus going off last year when we were at the grand final was all the boys were keen to go again.
Yep.
Losing one at home is very tough, but you got to lose one to win one, as they unfortunately say. And I'm sure in the coming weeks, when season starts, we will be getting up to Monto during a training session or after a game on a Saturday and talking to the coaches and stuff like that. But we do know a bit more about Mundubbera. We have some ties there. Bailey Kimber has taken the reins of Mundubbera and he is coaching. And he is coaching hot. Hates absolutely everyone in the Central Burnett, even Biggin, and we haven't even played him yet. So
yeah, I think it'll be good for Bailey to step in coach. He's basically, I'd say, nearly done it for many years now, or had some sort of managing role, or very organised, or very involved with the club. So I think it's good to see him stepping up, coaching. I think he'll enjoy it. He'll be good for it. It'll be good culture for the club. He's very dedicated, doesn't miss games, hooks in hard for Mundubbera. Seen him a bit at the Sevens last month, the cricket Sevens. He was in there helping out, so, him and his brother, Jacob, they're very involved in everything at Mundubbera base. So
yeah, Jacob's very, very into his refereeing at the moment.
Yep. Refuses
to referee Mundubbera games, which is good. But the Mundubbera Nines is in a couple of weeks on March the 15th. If you want to go follow Mundubbera Tigers and Mundubbera Rugby League and get the goss on that. There'll be a lot of teams there, and I'm sure we'll be able to get some interviews with coaches, get some more inside information, and come back to you in later episodes about that.
Yep, they are hosting the Nines. It's always a good day out there, isn't it? Mundubbera are usually pretty crash hot in them Nines. Home field advantage.
And
that'll be good.
They've got a lot of quick, very strong players, and Nines is a very simple game. You don't have a lot of time to mess things up, so you just get in there, pass the ball around, and
yeah, we'll definitely be there with the camera for sure.
Maybe something that's not great news. Eidsvold didn't go too well last year. We were a bit short of numbers. They always come good come finals. But now,
a bit short through the season. I suppose last year was a bit different because it's a 4-team comp and finals are top 4, so you sort of can skate through and only really pick up towards the end of the year. But they got a good team. They got good players, very talented players. Stanley Blythe's still running amok up there.
Yes.
He's not short of anything when he plays. He can match it with the best of them. So
when he decides to tie his bootlaces up tight, he will just score tries and there's nothing you can do.
Playing in the halves and centres, he'd run a bit of a muck last year. They had when Dub were on the back foot in one of them semi-finals. But I just haven't seen much on their Facebook, so I assume they'll be same as everyone, keen to go. They'd run a fair few off like out of season raffles. I always see their Facebook page running raffles and doing all stuff like that. Great pub up there, great pub after games. Really, really good.
Very good facilities too.
Good facilities, good field. Dressing sheds are bloody good. Canteens always good. Bars good. So don't mind travelling to Eisvold.
Well, we can only hope with Biggin coming in the comp, they'll get give a few people a bit of a kick up the arse. They can't just skate in the finals, and they'll be able to perform.
Well, that's right.
Show us what they got every week in, week out. It will really make Central Bennett much stronger.
Yep.
And of course, who we've been talking about, Biggin. They've got old Matty Curtis, legend of the league himself, coaching. And trial coming up versus the the old Sword Wandai.
Yeah, the old Wandai Wolves. They've got a trial next month planned, hosting in Biggin. But while we're on that, obviously it's pretty good to see Biggin back into the comp after so many years. We've had a bit to do. We went to a few meetings over last year and over the pre-season, just getting the ins with the club and seeing what they're doing and offering our help wherever we can. But they're pretty onto it. They're got a really good committee. Everyone's very dedicated. I haven't travelled over to a training. I've done more some meetings and attendance, stuff like that. They're the bare minimum, obviously, but Conan's went to a few trainings, so...
Yeah, very good numbers coming out of Biggin. I've got the inside scoop there. Brittany will be coming next Friday, because we are training Tuesdays and Fridays to help out a few fellas that, work the long hours. Biggin's a very working town, built on the back of farmers, and a lot of fellas, they can only train Fridays when they get the early knock, and some fellas are travelling. People come back home to see the oldies on weekends, so we've been getting very good numbers. Last Tuesday I attended and we had 24 players.
That's good numbers. That's good.
Genuine players that I have seen multiple times and the multiple times I've been there. Friday I didn't go, but I did hear that there was 19 players there as well, and haven't had less than 16 since the start of the year. So Matty Curtis has got his hands full when it comes to selection at the start of the year, but I'm sure come the trial, come the nines, we'll work it out. And the fellas that are playing, they will have to earn their spot. Everyone that's training at Biggin lives in Biggin, bar me.
Yep.
So it's going to be a very, very exciting year for Biggin. A lot of raw stuff, but there's going to be a lot of diamonds in the rough as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. They had a heap of real good ideas at the committee meeting, going back to previously they used to have like the sponsors truck on a bit of a truck bed sort of thing, so they want to do that and have sponsors days and little areas and stuff like that. So very exciting, all good things coming out of Biggin, which is very good.
And you'll hear more about it next Sunday and probably Friday night when we edit some film and get amongst the training boys.
Yep, should be really good. Last but not least, obviously, everyone's favourite, Gayndah Gladiators, the green and gold, green wall.
Well, every year it's the same thing,
every
isn't
year,
it? Some old fellas leave. Zachy Dan's gone to East,
yep.
So he won't be able to leave.
Yep.
I have heard that he is dual signed for Gayndah, but playing A grade in Bundaberg, I'm sure that will probably be coming first on his plate. I think
that'd be a priority, yep. And then, permit back in play when he's available for Gayndah. It just depends. East, I hear, are paying him $2 million.
I heard 2.5.
Probably don't want to be hurting, allowing you play if you're paying him that much money to go play anywhere else. So we'll see.
I'm pretty sure he has a club car as well.
Yeah.
Because of the travel, yes, and they fill it up for him.
Obviously, his wife Sarah, they got a few kids, would have got a van, holiday, all that sort of stuff. So.
Couple caravans.
Yeah, nothing that surprises us. But
Gayndah, they always have young. Since this recent success in the last, I'm pretty sure they've won the last 7 or 8 in a row. Didn't fact check that, but that's just success breeds success. They get young fellas coming to the club. Young fellas want to play. They train for 3 years. They become good footballers, and no matter who leaves, there's people taking over. So I'm sure if they've been successful for the last 8 years, they're going to have a very strong, hard-to-beat side. Again, Monto came at them with probably one of the best teams that they've had in the last couple of decades, and they got a little bit unlucky, but they still Gayndah just held through, and those young fellas showed showed why they get picked in those games. So
absolutely.
Central Burnett, if everything goes well, it will be a very close, tight-knit comp. Might see some low scores, but do not deny that.
I think it'll be a great comp. Any comp that sort of changes from playing every weekend and then having to add buys for events. Anytime you can add a team which then allows those buys to happen naturally, I think it's a benefit to everywhere, because then you're not relying on people. It's every single weekend. You're not having to change draws, anything like that. I think we do have a start date. The start date for the Central Burnett comp is in April. It's April the 12th, and round one we've got Biggeden versus Monto. We haven't confirmed the other games, but I know that one. Biggeden have put some stuff on their socials about a bus. So obviously round one in Monto, one would assume that it's double headers every week. So
it's a very well-run comp. So in the last couple of years, they've been giving teams buys if it's their local town show, because obviously it being only 4 teams, everyone has a game every week. So I'm sure this year, when it comes to the comp draw, when the Gayndah show's on, Gayndah will have the week off, and Mandubra vice versa. So every week there should not be an excuse for you to have nobody. Everyone should be turning up with 18, 19 people.
That's right. And Biggeden's entrance was premeditated. It's not like they've just jumped in now. They've got around it last year and really organised themselves, so everyone's had a lot of notice. I think the Central Burnett committee is very well run. You know, we've only seen it on the outskirts of recent. We're not obviously in the know every week, but we love going there. Loved going there last year as a supporter with Monto, obviously, but then knowing other fellas at other clubs, it's very well run. It's a pleasure to go to their games every weekend. It's good.
No word has really come out of the Central Burnett comp that we didn't agree with their decision. Every decision they've made and every rumour that we've heard, it's always, well, that makes sense. That is a smart thing to do for the league. So I'm pretty sure, I really think there's going to be a lot of money made at the home grounds, and a lot of very happy supporters and very happy players. Win, lose or draw.
So that's the wrap up of Central Burnett. If you have any questions or any fact checks that we were wrong about, make sure you send us in and let us know.
So moving on to the Northern Districts now, we'll start with the northernmost team of the Northern Districts, Calliope. Calliope, in my opinion, they were very unlucky last year. Whenever they turned up with numbers, they played well. They went to Moonvale, pulled their pants down and jagged their way into finals late in the year. Moonvale only had 2 losses for the year, and one of them was against Childers. So if they can get their numbers week in, week out, same as any team, they'll be looking at a second or third spot, I think.
And a highlight about them, you know, as opposed to other teams, not bringing anyone down, but when they had 11, they just played. They didn't whinge, they didn't try and, you know, make excuses or say in the week, oh, we've only got this many, we're not coming. If they had that many, they turned up with it.
And they played with it.
Yeah, we seen them before the NDRL, actually. We've seen that in Mandubra Nines last year. Remember, they turned up late? The Nines draw got delayed a bit and switched around because they were late or had bus troubles on the way down. But same thing, still turned up, still played, didn't whinge. So I think they're pretty good. They've got a good team. Couple bush boppers up there.
Yeah, couple very big dogs.
Boys. Couple older fellas.
Very dangerous when they get a roll on. If they can get 1 or 2 quick play the balls, and that hooker starts jumping and sees a bit of space, these blokes are more heavy on set than me, and they've got some legs. So
forwards can carry themselves too. They're not lazy or anything as such. So
and they're old heads. They know how to get down there and defend a good kick, and they know how to defend their line. They're not easy to score against. A lot of their points were in the later ends of the halves when they had 11. You'd think they'd be 40 points down before the last 10 minutes, but they would often hold on and often score very, very good tries. So I'm really excited to see, and I really hope Calliope have a good team.
I agree. On the touch of the Gladstone Wallabies, I'm going to say they're not in the comp just because that's information I've seen, but knowing what's within the NDRL, who would know? They could be back in, they could not. But my understanding is that they've chosen to go back northward further to the Rocky comp. That's my understanding.
They're back playing reserve grade for their
again,
club.
Fact check us, we could be wrong, but that's my understanding of those ones. But Calliope either have stayed or chosen to stay. Further south, we've got Agnes.
Well, mixed feelings about Agnes. As not many people would know, 2016, my father and a lot of the older fellas, they went down there and played for Agnes for a year, had a good year, bit unlucky, so we're very good friends with a lot of the people at Agnes. Got
a lot of club ties there. It was when they first said last year they wanted to put a team back in, we thought, you beauty, rip in team. It's unfortunate that they couldn't get numbers each and every week, and then all of the questions that surrounded that, you know, the legality of it. Should they have been kicked out earlier? Should they have been given chances? They ended up withdrawing from the comp. Should they be able to enter again?
Well, to the letter of the law, after 3 forfeits,
Supposed to get kicked out. I think it will end up being more than 3, but my understanding, I'm a bit harsh, I would have said no, you're not re-entering this year until you can sort of prove with us that you've definitely got these people. Like, their league tag is established, obviously, but if they're going to let them back in, I'd have some sort of strict things around them that if they're forfeiting within the first round, it's, you know.
Well, I was just a bit sad to see that.
It's disappointing.
They'd go to Avondale with 12, and then the very next week they'd have 19 and Agnes.
Yeah.
And then the next week they're forfeiting because they only have 8. Multiple times people had to drive an hour, hour and a half plus. And
well, that's right. Agnes isn't close to anyone else,
no.
You know, bar Mira and Val, but, you know, still travelling. Yeah, I don't know.
All things positive, it'd be really great if they have a very competitive side.
On that note, they have had a lot of players at their training. Their women's league tag's looking good. They have had a lot of men's players. They've been getting around it, doing their raffles, their draws, all that sort of stuff each week. So hopefully on the up and up for Agnes, all things positive. We wish them the best. So yeah.
Yeah.
Good touch.
Kick things off with Miriamvale, which is not very far from Agnes, but a bit of a stark difference when it comes to performance. Miriamvale, as we touched on before, only had 2 losses last year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, somehow placed 3rd based on for and against. That loss against Calliope dropped them out of coming 2nd.
Yep.
And very hard team to beat.
Yep.
They're the only team that beat us in the fixtures throughout the year.
Yep.
I think that was actually our only loss.
Yeah, I think you're right. They're a tough team. Last year led by Gons, which is, you know, the epitome of a...
For the 65th time.
Of a number 10, number 8 bush bopper. You know, he's a local legend up there. Led them well last year. They have a great culture. We had the pleasure, myself being around the Miriamvale Club in 2022. It was around then when they won. Really good club. Again, facilities, bar, canteen, really good facilities. They're one of the old clubs that sort of still have the... respect and acknowledgement for their awards dinners. Like, that's a very prestigious thing. Most clubs have fallen away with it now, don't really even have one. It's more barbecue stuff, but they still have a proper presentation dinner, which I think you need in rugby league. I haven't heard word out of what the coaching and staff-wise is like that, or players leaving or coming back, but same, I think same as what Gainder's on par with. They're a successful club, successful people, really good committee, really good staff.
I do recall it wasn't many years ago they couldn't win a game, and now they've built this winning mentality.
Yeah.
A lot of young fellas in the side now, a lot of very hard players, and a lot of old head that are also bush boppers. I know for a fact that I've never been hit that hard in a very long time. So
they are good.
You don't know what you're going to get with them. Yeah. It's never an easy game, but if it's 12, you're a pretty good chance of winning. If it's 19, you're tightening your shoelaces up. Good
team. A lot of good players coming out of there. Charles Hoff, very talented. Jake Corsten, very talented. Brando, really good. Gonzo, obviously, but a lot of good players coming out of there. So hopefully they're on the up and up still. Don't know, a bit of controversy last year going in and out around the finals games and whatnot there, but hopefully they're all back in. So further south from Miriamvale is... What's the next closest? We go...
Gingin or...
Gingin? We'll go Gingin. We'll go Gingin. That's straight down the highway, and then we'll go in.
Not a great year last year for Gingin. They have been a very successful club in previous years, but they have a lot of ins and outs every year. A lot of fellas from Gingin like to go play A grade or reserve grade in the BRL, and then they go back to Gingin. Gingin have a couple of good years. They're a very up and down side, but I think what killed them last year was just lack of numbers, and everyone you talk to, it was a lack of numbers due to injury, not due to spinelessness. So
yeah, that's right. Which injuries do plague clubs. It's just unfortunate if you're only starting at the small number. If 5 people get injured, then you're down to 10. If you're only starting with like that 15 or 16, so you got to build them big numbers early. You can't just be relying on 15 people at the start of the year. You really need at least 25.
And you don't want to rely on your ringers. There's 6 or 7 people that floating out of the team every week, floating out of the town. You don't know where they are.
But as for Gingin, they've obviously got their women's league tag team too.
Very successful.
Successful club. So as far as their women's league tag goes, I assume they're one in the same as always, training and get ripping in. Facilities wise, love their bar. One of my most favourite bars and fields in the NDRL, because you can still park all the way around it. Big open bar, cheap drinks. It's good. Toilets are close.
I think come end of year, the Gin Rugby League women's side, they will be one to watch because they'll be burning after having a lot of good years and a lot of easy premierships.
Well, I think they'll be burning right now because that loss last year, they did not take in their stride.
They got found out that they were not training hard enough. No offence to any of the girls, very good players, but Childers turned up and they were just fed up. Yep. So I'm sure Gin have identified that and they will be running.
Yep. Next one.
Yeah, heading east to South Killeen. South Killeen Sharks, another team that is very up and down.
And I'll say first starting with their women's league tag. Last year was the first year in, was it not? Of women's league tag?
And
those girls, first year or second year?
Those girls might have not been very successsul, but they looked like they were having fun every week.
They had some wins, they scored some tries. I remember watching, it might have been in their, can't remember what round it was, but they had a few really good games. Lots of new girls, lots of girls from Bundaberg that I know through our my NRL rugby league career in Bundy. NRL. Knew some faces, some young girls out there playing in South Killeen, so it's good to see that. When rugby league's not available every weekend, a lot of them are doubling playing for league tag, which is good. On to their men's. Phil would still be there, is he not?
I'm sure Philo is going to be the coach again, and
I think
another person that will be burning. Very unlucky when they went to Childers and 6 people didn't turn up.
Yep.
Simple as that. They'd had a very good side all year. Philo, as much as I hate to say it, is very good at running a team. From on the field, he might not be the hardest worker without the ball, but certainly with the ball, he'll get the ball left and right, and he'll hit the danger men. And if you're a vet, and honestly, they put 20 points on us in 10 minutes before we blinked because we were doing silly stuff. You dropped the ball in your 20 South Killeen score, so. They were just very unfortunate that they couldn't have their best 19 for the entire final series, which I'm sure if they did, they would have put a very good performance on against Gladstone.
Yep, Philo is the bit of the general there. He's very easy to put shit on. I think he opens that up himself, and he'll probably tell you that. But he's a very good playmaker. He's a very good organiser. I don't really have a bad word to say about him. When he was at Brothers in 22, where a lot of times us women's team from Wando were travelling there, and if we ever didn't have balls, markers, whatever, he just didn't even try to say no. He'd always help us out in that respect. So good bloke, easy to put shit on, especially with those little pink skins he wears. But very good.
We love you, Philo, but
and that's another good field.
I like you.
That's another good field. Killeen, park all the way around, 2 bars.
Yes, 2 bars.
Yeah, the only club with 2 bars.
Rowdy bar and a canteen bar.
So what's that tell you about the club? Good club.
Yeah, not many places you can park around the entire field anymore, can you? And it's a really good vibe.
Yeah.
There's noise coming from everywhere.
Yeah. And
you don't look around, you don't see green, you see club shirts and cars. It's
a little bit of a clubhouse there on that end bit at the end of the canteen. Bar, clubhouse sort of.
I have heard that's a great place to be if you're a Sharky.
Yeah.
It's really just a place for the Sharkies players.
Which is good. I love clubs that have their own clubhouse and keep it for club people only. Plebs, everywhere else.
You pay your rego for a reason.
Right.
And
I like that.
South Killeen follow that.
Love it. Right, Avondale?
Avondale, yes. Sort of on the same wick as Eidsvold, just shorter numbers. Bit of unreliability there. A very good team.
Capable.
Young Denver there. He scored 3 hat-tricks in a row in 3 consecutive games. 9 tries in 3 games.
Once again, I think it's just...
They didn't win any of those games, and I'm pretty sure he was the only point scorer in 2 of those games.
Just lack of numbers. It's hard to start if you're already behind the 8 ball and then you're going into weeks, you've only got 12 to start with, and you're trying to play a whole game, not wanting to forfeit, costs you club money, especially if you're hosting the games. So hopefully they get a few boys keen. You never know. A lot of people from the BRL chop and change in and out, get releases each year. So hopefully they can get some boys from Bundy or some people from somewhere. I know last year a few people were permitting from the Central Burnett to the NDRL. So hopefully they get around that a bit more.
Hopefully they get on the phone a bit. As we just said, a lot of great players, just not enough of them.
Yeah, just need to get a few more committed ones.
Unfortunately, you can't win with 9. Otherwise, I'd have about 10 premierships.
Yeah, that's right.
So further south from Avondale, who's the next team there?
Speaking of premierships, I think it's Childers, is it not?
Is that? Oh, I feel
We've
like
done
we're missing
Gingin,
someone.
Callan, Avondale, Childers. We've done Gingin.
Yep, Childers.
Yep.
Well, Childers.
Childers.
Yep, Childers. Come back in the comp 2 years ago in 2023. Won it in their first year in. A couple fellas came back just for that year. A couple quality players, and then we won it again last year with a bit of a new look side.
Definitely a new looking side. If you compared those two premiership photos.
Oh yes, very different. Probably only 10.
Yeah, lots
I think
of
there's only
different
10 fellas from the first premiership to the second premiership. So, and now this year we've pretty well retained a vast majority of the last year's premiership team, and we've gained some people. We've gained Chris Wicks, who was the top try scorer in 2023 and won that premiership up in
richest man in Childers. Yep.
Yeah, he's buying me a ram so that I stay with the Childers.
Nice. Yep.
And we gained a lot of good players, but we lost. Same as gained up. We lost Zachy Dan, who was when the chips are down, 5 minutes to go.
Yep.
He was a fourth prop.
Yep.
Tuck it in, make 10 metres, get a quick play of the ball.
Don't make him like that anymore. That's
Hands
for sure.
are never on his knees, so we'll see how we go. Young Zach Zarafa, talk is he's going to be going to fullback, and Jimmy James, he is looking like being 5'8". Got moved from second row where he won Player of the Year. Pretty sure he topped the hit-ups and tackles every single week, and now he's going to be going to 5'8", and nothing better than a 5'8" that can actually tackle.
Well, that's right, you never know.
As much as I hate halves, he might be the only one I like.
You never know. People make that change. You never know. It's only one way to find out. Trial games, whatever. Only one way to find out how it goes.
Well, Childers have a confirmed trial against Mundubra, which we forgot to mention.
Oh,
and that is on the same day, unfortunately, as the Biggin Wondai game.
Oh,
but
right.
I will be attending Biggin first home game in 6 years.
Yep.
And pulling on the maroon and yellow.
Yep. 15th of March is that trial Biggin Wondai. So there you go. 15th of March. So 2 on the same day. It's a bit disappointing. Would have been good to have a little double header somewhere, but I'm sure that'll work itself out throughout the years. Some big double headers.
And moving back on rumours, I've got some hot gossip coming out of Childers. Someone said that Royce Blair is going to come inside a scrum line and play prop. I don't believe it. 99% of Childers don't believe it. I think the only two that believe it are Ian Kearton and Royce Blair himself. So we will get some footage from the trial game, and if Royce Blair has one of these numbers on and he's inside a scrum line, it'll be his first hit up there in 6 years.
That, I'll pay money to see that. While we're on Childers, Women's League Tag Team. Can't go without saying that. Reigning premiers. As we mentioned a little bit before, beat Gingin, pipped them at the post, so...
Yeah, they're not a very fancy team.
No, they're not fancy. They're fit, I'll give them that. Oatsy bloody runs them. I think they just, nearly do 10k a week running, which is what you need in that league tag.
League tag is a very quick game. It's almost like touch. Markers do a lot of work. If you don't know what we're talking about, please look up some footage from the NDRL league tag teams, and they were just fitter, and they don't do anything silly. They don't do no face balls, bum balls.
Everyone plays their role. There's no arguing back with the ref. The call's the call.
They let the ball do the work.
Yeah, they know they're not going to get anywhere with arguing, or really close knit team, good culture. Oatsy's all over them. He's got them girls trained well. As we said, Thursday night, you'll see in some of the content, if you go back and watch the first little content bit at Childers, some of the girls joined in the 100 kilo handicap. So next time we go back there, we might do a little feature on the women's league tag, even though it's not rugby league, just to talk to the middles, obviously, by the forwards, for the forwards.
If we get a bit of
heaps of numbers. Heaps of numbers. Ray's still there. Old Ray at Childers, he's still around the girls, keeping them in line. That was good. Very good to see.
If we get a bit of interest around that league tag content, then we will go around to other teams that request us to come to training and film some more 100 kilo handicaps and questionnaires, stuff like that throughout the year. So if you'd like us to come to your club's training sessions or get some interviews after a home game, please let us know.
Let us know. Thursday nights are going to be our travel night, our tour nights. Just makes Conan and I still able to attend our own trainings throughout the week, and then leave Thursdays up to travel if anyone is keen. And even if you're not keen, we're probably going to be messaging you because we're keen to come around and talk to you and get some content. We're just wanting to get out there, as we said at the start, a bit more of a platform for Bush Rugby League. The TRL have got those guys and they stay within the TRL. They don't sort of venture out to Western Downs or anything. And then Bundy has sort of went away with their content, that footy show that they used to run. But nothing that sort of acknowledges the bush ones, and we want to sort of get it back. Just not serious, funny.
Well, there's a
light-hearted.
lot of great characters in Northern District
Yeah,
of Central
there is.
Burnett, and no one really gets to see them.
No, like I said, I love going to Central Burnett. And loved going to NDRL. Back when we went up to Agnes in 2016, it was just one of the best years we've had. Just really good clubs and committees, and there's in every competition there's controversy and things that go wrong that you might not like, but overall, two really, really well run competitions. So, if you have any questions, want us to come see you, send them. And Thursday night we are going to Bigoton as
Friday
Conan.
night. Friday night we're going to
Bigoton.
So if you have any questions for Matty Curtis or any of the boys that are training in Bigoton, please let us know. We will answer. We are very active on the Instagram page. And whatever you say, trust me, we will ask it. So don't be scared.
Yep.
And
Good. Deal done.
Good wrap up.